Our soul, the very essence of who we are, is what is divinely created and given to us by God. So many people are wandering around not knowing their purpose, why they're here. They have different passions and desires and all this stuff, but they're just not connected to it because you don't understand what it says here. And the Lord God formed man of the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and man became a living soul. Wow. You have the breath of God in you. You were made in his image and in his likeness. We did lose the capacity of it because now we have decided to take on understanding good from evil, the knowledge of good and evil. But with that being said, we still got, like, that's the whole restoration process. That's why Jesus came. That's why he had to take on, because he's in heaven, he's a spirit. He had to take on a dirt body so that he could walk amongst us, deal with everything we've dealt with, go through every situation we've gone through. We don't have a God who just is up there like, oh, I don't know what that feels like. I don't know what that means. I don't know what that is. Jesus experienced pain. He experienced all those things. He came in a body so that he could understand what our physical bodies go through. And then he also had this, obviously he had the spirit of God. He was God and man. So in his God position, he was able to show us how to stay directly aligned and in tune. I'm trying to say this properly, but because Jesus was able to fall. He had every temptation that we had, but he stayed so divinely connected to his Father in heaven. And I think it was even harder for him. People say, oh, well, he was God, so it was easy for him. No, he knew where he came from. Remember, we haven't tasted heaven. We don't know what heaven, the experience of heaven is like. We don't know what it means to be adored and loved and valued and revered and honored. So for us, it's going to be, to me, easier to try to go through this walk and try to attain righteousness and to live according to and get a divine relationship with God. Where Jesus could have came down here and said, oh, these people are crazy. They have utterly lost their minds. We're going to do over. Like, poof everyone's memory, poof everyone's everything, poof the angels, but in his love and in his mercy, and because there's other worlds, which is so much more to get into, but there's other worlds, the angels are watching, and God was showing that he's a just God. He is a loving God. He is a compassionate God. So he didn't just wipe us out. He didn't wipe us out, right? This short time span that we live here in this earth and this thing called time, it's so short, 80, 90, 100. We're like, wow. But really, it is just a blip. It's not even a blip in the ocean. It's like throwing a grain of sand in the ocean and saying, I've lived. But just make your days count. Make sure your days are actually with you getting into that divine relationship with God. It's not as bad as you think, whatever it is, when it comes to either the way that you think about God. When you see how God created you now, start to understand and say, okay, God is love. We talked about that. God cares deeply for us. God, the characteristics of God: gracious, long-suffering, compassionate, forgiving. He breathed. I have his literal breath inside of me. I can look at my life now and look around me and see that how God is in everything, and how we have these inventors and these people, and how I create things and we create things, and how we think in our imagination. Our imagination probably is supposed to be lived out when it's good, because God is like, listen, I put these thoughts in your head for you to start this job or start this business, or do this thing or whatever it is that you're just like, man, that would be so great, but it's so out of my capabilities right now because I have this family or I have this or I have that going on. Like, God's like, man, tune in and tap in, and I will show you great and mighty things that you never knew, and I will perform in you the work that I have started in you. I will cause you to be able to accomplish so much more. There are some people who have all these businesses and all these things and all this, that. Some of them acknowledge God. Some of them just don't even realize that it's God that has given them the ability to stay disciplined, focused, and all of that and those things. Just know who you are. Know where you came from. Know that the love of God is with you, for you, in you always, and that his love for you is so much more powerful than you could ever imagine. And now that you know and you see for yourself that God didn't only speak, like he spoke to the earth and he spoke to the firmament and he spoke to the water, he spoke to himself, he used his hands and he breathed into you. Like, that's how valuable you are. That's how much he cares. That's how much he loves you. Wow. Take that to the bank and cash it. And don't leave nothing behind. Empty that account. Let God be God like he wants to be. Let God's breath that's inside of you, your soul, the very essence of who you are. Like, I'm on this journey just to learn more about my soul, because knowing what I'm feeding myself mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, that is what's going to enlighten my soul. Oh man, there was this great verse where it said, the Lord thy God will enlighten my soul. I believe it goes something like that. But it's just like, that's what he wants to do. He wants to enlighten us. He wants to restore us. He wants to elevate us. All right, I think, here we go. I found another verse. I forgot about this one. I forgot about my notes. Job 33:4. The Spirit of God hath made me, and the breath of the Almighty hath given me life. Listen, I'm not lying. Psalm 138. It's powerful stuff, man. You got to just own it. What do you have to lose? Psalm 138. What? 138:8. When you get a little concerned and you feel a little unsure about it, go to Psalm 138. The Lord will perfect that which concerneth me. Thy mercy, O Lord, endureth forever. Forsake not the works of thine own hands. He handcrafted you with his own hands, breathed into you the breath of life. This ought to be your response, and we'll close with this. Psalm 139:14. Okay, well, we'll do 13 and 14. I guess my husband had it highlighted. For thou hast possessed my reins. That means like he has your mind. He has you. Thou hast covered me in my mother's womb. This is your response. 14. I will praise thee, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Marvelous are thy works, and that my soul knoweth right well. God is so good. He's so big. He's so loving. He's so kind and caring and good. He is a just God. He wants nothing but for you to prosper. He wants nothing but goodness for you. He made you in his own image and in his own likeness. And that is something you cannot fight against, no matter what. God bless you. I pray that you have been blessed. Please like, subscribe, and share. And most importantly, let God be God in your life. Let God be who he wants to be for you. Thank you for tuning in to Morning Flame. Until next time, God bless you all.